Hello, welcome back to From Soft Serve. Today we find ourselves in the Nintendo Switch version of Dark Souls Remastered, and you might be wondering, why the fuck would we do that? And the reason is that I've always found it very curious that Dark Souls Remastered on the Switch is actually not Dark Souls Remastered at all. It's actually very likely, I think it's the only one that makes sense, that it's based on the PS3 360 version of Dark Souls 1. And, you know, that's curious. They named it Dark Souls Remastered, but I have a feeling with the release schedule of Dark Souls Remastered in 2018, and then the Switch version I think was 2019. I could be wrong on that. Fact check me in the comments, but which would mean that there'd be overlap between the two projects, right? And that would make sense that I believe this is done by Virtuous, who does a lot of Switch ports. And so it makes sense that they would have to go another direction, right? They'd have to base it on something else than sharing code with QLock that was still working on Remastered. So I'm very curious that, like, under the radar, this is the faithful OG version of Dark Souls 1, which I think is so cool. But what I also notice is it seems like, unless I'm gaslighting myself, Virtuous may have actually fixed some of the mesh holes that I fixed in my mod. Because even right here, I notice this tower that my, beef jerky head is looking at normally has mesh holes right around there. There's like a little corner or a little lip that has a ton of mesh holes. So I'm very curious to see which mesh holes they fixed, because as we know, QLock did not, and FromSoft never did. Even with patches to this game, they never fixed the many bugs I found. But admittedly, a lot of people never saw. Like, admittedly, I never did. Also, you'll notice some particle effects are not being emulated correctly with Yuzu. That's the emulator I'm using. So I've probably going to look more into that, but you still get the essence of the video, is that it does recreate. Now, also the depth of field is broken, in that the depth of field is like way too strong, and it's blurring stuff in like the near field, right? So that's a bit kind of wonky. I'll have to look into that. I also installed a 60 FPS mod that absolutely does not work, so I had to figure out why that's not working. But it does look like they fixed the big mesh hole that is normally right here. There's usually a big cut-in, and now it looks like they didn't fix the mesh holes that are underneath. You'll see those little lines. So those ones are pre-existing. But they did fix the big one that was there. Ah, but they didn't fix this one. Okay. You know you've been modding Dark Souls 1 for too long when you know all the individual mesh holes. So there's still this corner one. Okay. Still interesting, though. Very curious that they fixed some of them. I think, yeah, it looks like they fixed the cut-in. Normally there's a mesh that in all versions of the game, except for this one apparently, by default, there's a mesh that's overlapping inside these walls, but you can only see it if you're in, like, you look up at a certain degree. But here it does seem like they fixed that. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, Bonfire doesn't show the classic Bonfire, but, you get all the prepare to die things, and that's how the actual visuals look. And it's so cool. It's so cool that there's so many Switch owners that have no idea, but they're actually playing the authentic Dark Souls version. I don't know, there's something so cool about that. And I've always been so curious to know the development process behind Dark Souls Remastered on the Switch, and I'd like to know why they went that direction. I imagine it's because obviously you're not going to port the PC version, because the PC version was terrible in terms of optimization, and there's no reason why you would use that to emulate the game. But we now have tons and tons of people playing Dark Souls Remastered on the Switch, and they're getting the ultimate, in my opinion, the ultimate version. And not just the ultimate version, but like, it actually includes the quality of life changes that Remastered did bring in certain cases, like where I'll open up my inventory, but I believe this has the use multiple items instead of having to use one and then use one. I think it actually does bake in that. So it has quality of life from Remastered, but it is still the authentic version. I think it actually looks great. Yeah, let me go into my inventory. Use item. Yeah, see? Specified quantity. So there is the quality of life. And now, this is the first time I've noticed, they did fix some of the mesh holes. That is super interesting. So we'll go up and kill Taurus Demon. I'm curious. But honestly, it looks really good. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, did I get the master key? I don't remember on this character. But yeah, you know, I'm able to emulate it on my Ryzen 5 3600, RTX 2060, and get a solid, you know, 30 FPS. So what the game shipped at, right? Which is a shame. I do think on Switch 60 FPS was possible. Now, of course, I could be wrong on that, because it is admittedly an SoC from 2015. So, yeah, I could see how maybe 60 FPS was just kind of like off the table. Just shame it doesn't. I don't know. I'd have to check with once I get the 60 FPS mod working. The other thing I want to do is you can actually emulate the Switch on your Android phone. So I want to actually run Dark Souls Remastered on my Pixel 6a, just to see like how bad it runs. Because really all you want it to do is get up to 30 FPS. Because 60 FPS through emulation on my phone, emulating the Switch, like, nah, I don't, you know, the Pixel 6a isn't like some sort of workhorse or anything. It's got the Tensor chip, which is pretty good for graphics performance at least. And AI performance is also quite good. But yeah, you can see they use lower quality assets. They fit the game onto on a cartridge, right? And that's the other thing with this version. You get really low quality audio, like just really bad. Like they hampered the audio so bad in this game, but it was all so they could actually fit it on the cartridge. And, you know, that's a shame. I do think they should have had an alternate, or an optional update for higher quality audio, right? But they did not do that, and you know what? That's fine. Also, there is one quality of life thing that did not make its way over, which is changing the size of the HUD. And now that makes sense because, well, you're playing on the Switch. So, is there any use case where you're going to want to lower the HUD size on your TV? I don't think so. I think that's pretty unlikely. So I understand why Virtuous. God, if it wasn't Virtuous, then this video, it just sub that in for whoever actually developed it. But Virtuous does a lot of the actual development for Switch ports. But that's what I like, is that it is a super good version of the game. Let's see if they fixed. Okay, yeah, that looks fine. You know, all baked lighting, obviously, and then you have your dynamic shadows for objects and whatnot. But as you can tell, Prepare to Die Edition has great material handling. Like the way that this armor looks and the reflectivity on the metallic portions, I'm still trying to recreate that in my Dark Souls Re-Remastered mod. Like, it's just a totally different way that it handles it. And it was more simplified than what Dark Souls Remastered, the actual Dark Souls Remastered, ended up going to a PBR metallic pipeline. And that introduced, I think, a whole lot of issues, right? And we've still never gotten back to this sort of material handling where it just looks great. I think it's timeless, you know? Okay, so let's fuck up Taurus Demon, and then I'll make my way back past the dragon down to the bonfire, and then we'll end the video there. Let me know if you want a tutorial on how to run Dark Souls Remastered on Switch on your computer. I don't know why you would want to do that, because we have versions on our computer we can run. But this is a way to play the Prepare to Die edition easily, essentially. That's kind of my way of thinking. It's like, if you want the OG version, go play it on Switch. Like, yeah, it's 30 FPS, but I think it's well worth the money, you know? Like, my brother, he played it on Switch too, and like, it's a great experience. And 30 FPS, like, you totally get used to it. Because personally, obviously, I play Bloodborne at 30 FPS. Like, I don't have a PS, I don't have a PlayStation that I can hack and then, use the 60 FPS mod, or a PS5 where they have the exploit. And, like, I don't have that. Oh, so I do have my Gold Pine resin on. It just doesn't display. There's something wrong with the particle effects. Yeah, you can also tell the clouds, I think, are not loading. So, oh, shit, my head. Okay, I forgot about these guys up here. Although I will actually show something that I think not a lot of people experience with the Taurus Demon fight. But I won't say what it is until I do it, just to see if there's people who did not know that does happen. So let's go. Oh, let's see if they let you slide down. Okay, no, you still have to hold down the button. I miss it from Dark Souls 2 and 3, where you can actually. I was always used to my analog stick pushing that down and holding the button down. But in Dark Souls Remastered, you have to hold it down, just your button. All right, Mr. Taurus Demon, we're chugging back. Oh, this music is sick. I'll probably have to edit the audio of this. Oh shit. Hey. Oh my god, that's close. Okay, bud. So normally you kind of go up here and you want to do your little drop attack. What if you just look at him? What's up, homie? How's it going? And he actually comes up here. It's so cool. Oh my god. Oh shit. I never knew this could happen. So whenever I saw someone in their video that had this happen, I was like, what the shit? Oh no. Oh no. Okay, well he fucking wrecked me. Holy shit. Yeah, let's load back at the bonfire. Did I rest at this one? Maybe. Kind of long load times. I mean, it is emulating, so that's part of it. I'll end the video there because it's pretty blurry. I have it set at 1440p, but there's a depth of field issue. Oh my god, they didn't fix the bucket. Yep. The bucket's floating. Technically, all the other things are floating too, just barely. Which is always hilarious. And then I think that one is... I think they fixed that basket. The sack is floating easily. Let's see if the boxes... Yeah, boxes are floating. That bag is just barely floating. That's a pretty common mistake. But that's been in the game forever, and I guess they just didn't notice that. It's hard to not notice it. Once you notice that most things in the game are actually floating... Oh, and the shadows disappear. Oh, they must have a really quick shadow fade set up for performance, because you can see how quickly that fades when normally it should hang out a little bit more. And normally your player lantern actually makes the shadows harder to see, but there's a bit of a... It's a bit confusing because you get close and it does make them less visible. You walk away, they become more visible. You walk away too far, and it's all within the stretch of like 2 steps. Yeah, they were really... I guess they did optimize it for performance, yeah. Because you can see it's far away, then the shadow pops up, then it's less visible, then it just... Yeah. I'd never noticed that before. But yeah, you can see their texture quality certainly went down. But overall, I think from a distance, it's still, really quite decent. But anyway, I'll end the video there. Let me know if you want like a tutorial of how to play it on your computer. I don't know why someone would want to do that, because you can DM me and I can give you a link to the actual Prepare to Die edition on PC. Like, just DM me on Twitter or Discord, and I'll give you that link. And then you can play the actual Prepare to Die edition. And that would be the ideal way. But I just thought this was a cool video of... Like, I think most people don't know that the Remastered on Switch is not Dark Souls Remastered. It's sort of a weird hybrid of Prepare to Die edition for all, intents and purposes. And it has the quality of life as part of it. So it's actually superior to Prepare to Die in that way. It actually has some nice quality of life. And it looks like they did fix some mesh holes, actually. I find that very interesting. So they didn't find all of them, but they did fix some of them. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.